Okay. Hey guys, Artist Week, Artist Way. Whew. Let's start over. Hey guys, Artist Way, week 5. This week was all about recovering a sense of possibility. Essentially, recovering this essence that through creativity, through the God essence within you, anything is possible. Yeah, it was a really great week in terms of some of the messages that Julia had to express. In my personal life, it was a busy week. Um, yeah, a lot of moving parts this week, a lot of things going on. It's all good stuff. Yeah, I think especially today, I'm just looking to give myself some TLC. So, yeah, it's exciting to do this. We're talking about limits. The first thing that she kind of goes into is this concept of limits. How are we limiting ourselves? I think it's interesting. This is something that I think about a lot. Are we limiting ourselves from what we think we deserve? And is what we think we deserve reflective of actually what we deserve? Um, I love it. She has some really great statements in here, mostly about, looking a gift horse in the mouth, about maybe rejecting the abundance or the gifts that God gives us, or maybe it comes in a form that we don't anticipate. And when we reject God's gifts, like through the present moment, no matter how it's showing up, we're denying abundance in our life. I think that's something I touched on last week or the week before, just the idea of the present moment literally being a present. And when we deny the present moment, we're denying that abundance. But yeah, it was really cool. She expressed some ideas of, one of the chief barriers to accepting God's generosity is our limited notion of what we are, in fact, able to accomplish. Sometimes, like an idea or a concept will come to us, and we think, I can't do that. I shouldn't do that. And especially as it relates to creative impulses. I watched a video. It was really like a clip of Lizzo the other day, and I'm going to watch this full video, but in this clip of Lizzo, she was talking about creativity being a stream and how you as a creative, you're casting your net. And when you catch a fish, really the process is just about you reeling a fish in. And she says, like if you catch a fish that's maybe not what you expected, maybe you are a certain type of artist and maybe you're like a rapper and your fish comes out as like disco. She was like, we have these thoughts that, oh no, I can't create a disco album because I'm a rapper or I'm a pop star or whatever. And she pretty much said, no, make that album, make that expression. That's that creativity. That's the abundance of the present moment, giving you this inspiration as it relates to creativity. And that was a really beautiful thing. That was a beautiful statement to make. And sometimes I think I notice it within myself, I guess I should say. There are times where I reject abundance through the present moment. I'm rejecting what's possible, what's happening in the moment, or I think I'm not able to accomplish something. And something that I reflect on when I was younger too was when I was younger, I used to have ideas of, what I could create and accomplish, and I would limit myself, and I would stop myself and say, who do I think I am? I can't do that. I don't know X, Y, Z, blah, 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 to be able to accomplish that. And it's interesting looking back on that memory now with this vantage. I'm thinking like, wow, there have been so many times in my life where I have stifled my own creativity just by not honoring it as a present moment gift. And it made me wonder and really reflect on what are all the ways that I limit myself. Because that's what it really boils down to, right? No one else is limiting me. I am limiting myself. And maybe there is a circumstance that's showing up in life that is a limitation, and it's a reflection of my internal limitations. And that happens a lot. That I'm sure that happens with you, like that happens with everyone so often, where we think someone or something is limiting us. But it's all an illusion because we are limiting ourselves. And that person, that circumstance, that thing is a manifestation of our own limitations. And it's bringing up this energy of that. And something that I love that she talks about too is, when she brings up this concept of us limiting ourselves, she's like, oh, some people might think that just bringing it up is like a little magic wand and you saying, oh, well, you are limitless, so okay, I'm just gonna live like I'm limitless now. And then everything is good and grand and dandy and we get everything we want. But something that I really resonate with that she talks about is more so I'll just read what she says. She says, some of you may be thinking that this sounds like the magic wand chapter. I pray and presto. Sometimes that is how it'll feel. More often, what we're talking about seems to be a conscious partnership in which we work along towards... More often, what we are talking about seems to be a conscious partnership in which we work along slowly and gradually, clearing away the wreckage of our negative patterning, clarifying the vision of what it is we want, learning to accept small pieces of that vision from whatever source, and then one day, presto, the vision seems to suddenly be in place. In other words, we pray to catch the bus and then run as fast as you can. This is such a beautiful statement because I felt this come up multiple times in my life where when I was when I was younger, especially, I wanted to be a singer, or there have been times in my life where I've wanted to achieve something, right? And instead of like the universe or God giving me the achievement of that thing, it gave me the opportunity to expose my blockages. And sometimes I think about that a lot when I'm faced with something that gives me a lot of anxiety. When I'm faced with an idea like this concept of, oh, we're just gonna like quit our job, and this is just a recent one. Like, we're gonna quit our job and be a new, I don't know, do all kinds of like new things and live like a creative life. That's a thought that I think some people, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think some people like resonate with in terms of that's what it means to be an artist. You take that leap of faith and you go all in. But I think more than that, it's like, no, the universe isn't telling me to make this grand leap into something or even into all this creativity that I'm expressing. The universe is kind of like nudging me in that direction, and then it's showing me all the blockages that come up along the way. Whenever I feel like anxious about something that I want to accomplish and that limiting thought comes into my head, it just kind of reminds me like, you know what, it's okay, because I feel that that desire within me for something, and I know that the universe is just going to show me the next step of how I would achieve that. Sometimes we get to a place where the next step is the full manifestation. Like if we're like, I want a house, the universe is like putting all these different things in our paths to get us incrementally to that big manifestation of the house. First, it might be, well, I have to, I don't know, save money. So it's giving you the opportunities to like save money. But before you even save money, maybe it's giving you the opportunities to reflect on, I need to reevaluate how much money I think I am worthy of deserving in my job. Or it tells you, okay, like maybe you need to reflect on, it's bringing up this pain of not feeling like you don't have enough money. Maybe it's bringing you further and deeper into the pain or the lack so that you can remember that you deserve money for this dream that you have of buying a house. I don't know if I'm making any sense. She touches on this concept of, first, in order for us to catch the bus, we have to feel like we deserve to catch it. Like we have to believe that we have a seat on there. And I think sometimes people in our lives, like for instance, I think we see this, I think I've seen this like in just relationships and friendships and whatever in the world where someone wants like a healthy relationship. They want a really healthy relationship, but then the universe gives them a super toxic person. And sometimes we think, well, the universe gave it to me, so the universe might want me to have it. But the universe doesn't necessarily want you to have it because they think that's what you deserve. The universe might want you to have it because it's giving you the opportunity to reflect more deeply on it's creating that contrast so that you know what you don't want anymore. Is that making sense? So if you're someone who's like, I want to be in a healthy relationship, and the universe gives you the absolute most toxic person you've ever met in your life, and you entertain that relationship, it's really, the universe is saying, okay, like what it's giving you the opportunity to go deeper into that experience to realize what you don't want. Because maybe you don't know a healthy relationship when you see it. You only know when you have that bad relationship that the universe brings in. It's telling you this is what you should avoid. This is the opposite. Like she says, it's clarifying the vision of what we want. Because sometimes we have a negative experience in our life and we only see what we want from what we don't want. And yeah, there have been a lot of times in my life where that's happened, where I was like, you know what? I think I want something, but the universe left fields me. And it's really just giving the opportunity to open the wound of that negative patterning so that I can come burst from it and accept and kind of like get fed up and say, no, that's not what I want. This is not what I want. This is what I want. I want this. I want that. Like, I don't know if I'm making any sense today. If I'm completely honest with you, my mind is scattered. I'm tired. Anyways, yeah, she talks about if we learn to think of receiving God's good as being an act of worship, cooperating with God's plan to manifest goodness in our lives, we can begin to let go of having to sabotage ourselves. That's a big thing, is like this concept of sabotaging. She says, by listening to the creator within, we are led to our right path just by listening to the creator. Sometimes it takes you through the fire so that you can come out of it, right? We must learn to let the flow manifest itself where it will, not where we will it. Yeah, she brings up this concept of sabotaging ourselves and how we blocking our own abundance, essentially. That's a really big theme of this week. An undertone is all the ways that we stop ourselves from receiving this abundance. And one of them is by, just not listening, like by by limiting ourselves. By having a thought or a thought process that limits ourselves. Yeah. She talks about this example of a writer who had not a really good relationship with her agent, who then wrote a letter to her agent firing her, and she got all nervous because she's like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it as a writer. What am I going to do? I'm going to sever all these ties. And then her boyfriend or her partner or husband at the time told her, oh, that's funny. I just met someone last week who, was an agent, and it gave me their number, so I recommend you call them. And pretty much she synopsizes that story by saying, once Kara became willing to receive her good from whatever source it appeared in, she stopped being victimized. And this idea of victimization kind of comes up a lot, because something that I reflected on that was a part of the questions was, she asked, what are the payoffs for remaining stuck at this point in your expansion? And I reflected on this in my morning pages, because sometimes I feel like when I reflect on why I'm sitting in this stuckness, I've talked a lot about me feeling stuck in life and me feeling stagnant in life and with my career. And sometimes I reflect on this idea of okay, what if I am my own limitation? If I'm the limitation, no one else is limiting me but me, then why am I doing it? What's my payoff? Because that's something that she talks about a lot throughout this, as well as there's this payoff to being a blocked artist, right? You get to live in this fantasy of hanging out with other artists. And then for me, there's this undertone of victimization, I notice, where it's like, oh, if I don't give something my all, I can feel sorry for myself. And that's such I hate admitting that. I hate the way that comes up. I hate the sensation that brings up. And that's honestly me being honest with myself and saying, me being a blocked artist, I get to feel sorry for myself. I get to feel sorry for myself about all this unlived potential that I wanted to explore that just didn't happen, and I didn't explore. And yeah, my payoff for remaining stuck is I just get to sit in my own despair of, oh, well, if I had gone for something, I didn't. But then that's when I blame the world. And I'm like, the universe stopped me. It wasn't me. I didn't stop myself. It was the universe. No, bitch, it's you. I think that's been one of the biggest realizations or acceptance moments from this week, is just me saying, I'm stopping myself. And instead of me sitting here and being like, okay, so so what do I have to do to not stop myself? I I'm just releasing to the concept that I don't have to figure out how to unblock myself. The universe will bring shit up so that I unblock myself. And there's no deadline. There's no end goal. There's no end date. I think that's the purpose of life. And this is all, I'm realizing right now how much this is all coming full circle for the message of this week. But this is all life. If the universe doesn't have like the construct of time, everything, the past, present, the future are all happening in this moment. There is no concept of, I'm going to be unblocked by this time and this date. It just all happens in the present moment. And the universe is just giving me opportunities to explore that. And when it comes up, when I feel these blockages come up within me, it hurts. And I've talked about it in the past. It feels like a bubble, like this magma coming up. And it feels like this sulfuric, almost like when you're blowing bubbles, except the bubble is magma. It's like this magma form. And when it releases, it's like sulfur from a volcano. It's like a fart. And sometimes it's a painful process of it dredging up and bubbling up. And sometimes it's like I can feel a big bubble beneath the surface. And I can literally see it, like when there's lava and there's just kind of a bubble forming, sitting just on top of the surface, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and you're like, when is this bad boy gonna blow? Sometimes I feel like that happens, and I think the universe is just adding more gas. It's adding more gas into that bubble until it bursts. And that's that release of the blockage, when you say, I want to be in a healthy relationship, the universe is giving you all that gas of sulfur. It's giving you all this toxic relationships with people until eventually you get so overloaded with all of this energy and this bubble that it just bursts. And that's where that clarity comes in. And it all dissipates. The light of consciousness just washes it all away. Yeah, that's how it feels like for me. And I was talking to someone last night, an old friend, and we were talking about this, and it was such a beautiful conversation. And she expressed it like in a painting, because she's an artist. She expressed it as she sees a painting. Normally she sees rainbows and sunshines, but in this corner of her canvas, there is this dark mass that sometimes a hand will reach up and grab it. And then she feels herself getting lost in like despair and all these negative thoughts. And she's such a happy person. And she's like, I don't know how to stop this. And yeah, we were talking about it, and I feel it like this magma bubble. And so I feel in this moment right now, I feel a big bubble. I feel this huge bubble that wants to like burst within me. And it's like, maybe that's why I feel so tired today. I feel so tired today. I probably started this video just like so tired. But yeah, today is just a big bubble day. It's a big bubble day. And this week she talks about too, she talks about so many things. So I don't have to go into everything, but just me reflecting on remaining stuck and just giving like everything over to the creative essence, letting yourself go, finding the river, letting yourself go with the flow, and then noticing, like finding, she says something that really resonates, and it'll come full circle. I'm kind of trailing getting there, but she talks about finding the river, and I feel like this bubble coming up in my life and me just letting go and saying, okay, like, universe, fill the gas, like put this gaseous bubble, like let it get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually, like, I know it'll just release and I'll feel peace after it releases. But right now it feels like a bubble, but I'm like finding the river and letting go and letting God really take over. And she talks about how when you just surrender to God, and you in the universe and creativity, and you go with the flow, it's this, you're, instead of depending on other people, you're depending on the creator. And she says, when you, through this process of excavating our consciousness, she describes it through our morning pages, she says we acquire a sense of movement, like I've been talking about, a current of change in our lives, this movement, which is really just you floating down the river and like going through these experiences that God brings up to remove these blockages and to propel you further into your creativity. And she says dependence on the creator within is really freedom from all other dependencies. And paradoxically, it's also the only route to real intimacy with other human beings. Freed from our terrible fears of abandonment, we're able to live with more spontaneity. And I feel like that sentence resonates with me really, really hard this week, because I've just been reflecting a lot on friendships and community, and I like have this question written down of like, how can I rely on the creator within me and the universe to feel more of a healthy sense of community and relationships in my life? Because I feel like this paradox, and even in this chapter, I feel paradox because, first of all, I feel a need for community and friendship in my life. Number one, that need has come up, right? That desire that has spurred up within me. And then I ask myself, how am I freeing myself from my fear of rejection and abandonment by loving myself more? Does that fear of abandonment, like she said, which is one of my fears, is this fear of abandonment and rejection from other people and in my friendships. And I think that's something that like I've experienced in my friendships, you know? Like it can get really deep. Like we can go as deep as, you know, just me developing like an attachment style from when I was really young, to me being an only child and kind of always feeling like not having this sense of connection, right, with anyone or with another person like you would with a sibling, to me feeling a sense of rejection from friendships and friend groups that I've had multiple times throughout my life, and a general sense of feeling like maybe not belonging. And so I asked myself, like, how am I freeing myself from that? How am I limiting myself from experiencing that, right? Is there a thought that I'm having that is limiting me from experiencing that? And how can I release that, this bubble that's coming up? Is it just like I need to get it to burst, or can I let the air out in ways? Am I like following the flow of love within me and that's what releases it? Or am I mentally sitting here like, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, so that I don't have that fear of abandonment anymore? And yeah, just like letting source meet my needs as it comes to community. When she talks about too in this chapter, she talks about virtue trapping and how, you know, sometimes people give a lot of time to other people. Well, hold on, let me back up, because in the next section she talks about virtue traps and how as artists, this put a lot of really awesome stuff into perspective for me. Like, as an artist, artists need downtime. Artists need time with their artist child to like recover. And part of me always felt like that part of me that needs that alone time, I always just felt like maybe that's because I'm an only child and I was just used to it, or sometimes it's really exhausting for me to be with people. So I'm like, maybe it's just me being an introvert, which is something I kind of developed later on in life because I was very extroverted as a kid. So I wonder, is that need from that element, or is the need from just me having like shifted a lot in my life, made a big change in my life, which kind of put me away from people. But I recognize that there's this need for me to have a lot of alone time for me to recover. And when she talks about virtue trapping, she talks about, you know, this trap that we get into where we want to nurture our artist, but sometimes people will say, well, instead of nurturing my artist, like, I have to take care of other people. I have to meet other people's needs before my own. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like I don't have a problem with that. I feel like maybe when I was younger, I would put other people and I would put more of the community needs before my own. But I think especially within like the past, you know, decade or so, I've gotten really good at putting my needs first. And I feel like that has in turn put distance between me and other people, you know? And I just want like this, and I'm asking myself if there is this like healthy middle ground between me being an artist and feeling this need for alone time, and me also being a part of a community and feeling like lifelong friendships and community in my life. And I know the fact that I'm even crying right now tells me that, yes, it's possible, because my tears are telling me that I'm holding on to a negative thought that no, like, being an artist and having friends don't go hand in hand, or you can't have enough time for alone time and other people. That negative thought makes me cry, which tells me that's not how my inner being feels. And I just haven't figured it out yet. I guess I just haven't figured out like how to take care of my own needs and budding needs for alone time, and to also put priorities in for other people and to build relationships with people that are important to me and that matter. And there's also been just a lot of struggle, for lack of a better word, and me finding like, I don't know, and me finding people who I think I really resonate with. But I feel like me just saying that, I know that's not true. I know that's not true. I know I've met really great people. But I just kind of keep stopping myself from, like, getting closer to people because it, like, hurts me. I don't know why. It's like you want to get close to someone, but it hurts you when you do. There's, like, pain. And there's pain from being around people, but there's also pain from not being around people. And I just, like, how do I heal that? And that isn't even something I need to figure out, right? That's just something the universe needs to figure out for me. When she asks in here, are you destructive of your true nature? This true nature being this need for solitude. And I accept my need for solitude. Like, I accept my need to recharge. And this is something that I brought up in even my relationship with Eric. He knows that I need time to recharge. I'm just feeling like this pull between, I don't know, servicing like my need to recharge and like building community and friendships and meaningful relationships. Yeah, because that's like what it's all about. And I don't know what happened. I feel like I used to be really good at that. I still do have lifelong friendships. I've built like really great friendships with people. I just feel sometimes like I'm on an island. And sometimes I worry that digging deeper into artistry means alienating myself away from people. But maybe this is something that, like, I need to find a community of people who are similar to me, who understand that. But I also know that everyone understands that, you know? Everyone can understand that. Yeah, sure, some people have like varying degrees. Some people are maybe a lot more extroverted than others, but I feel like everyone can understand that. And so I don't know what my problem is. Maybe I don't have a problem. Maybe that's how I need to stop thinking about it, is I need to stop like framing connections as either like this black and white of like rejection or acceptance, like rejection or the opposite. Like I just feel like I really want some strong friendships and community in my life. And I don't know why I don't feel like I have that. Like, what do I feel like I don't have? Am I comparing myself? Because that's probably what it is. Am I comparing myself to other people and the connections that they've made? And then, of course, and it's not like, I want to be clear, it isn't like jealousy or envy. in terms of animosity towards someone, because there's no animosity. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see other people have that sense of community. But then it's, when I reflect on myself, there's a sense of pain. Ugh. Oh. I don't think this video made any sense. If you watched this, thank you. Yeah, it'll probably make perfect sense to me when I watch it, because I'm going through my own mental narrative. So, yeah. All right.